In the year 2094, amidst a sea of stars, the spacecraft Endeavour slices through the void. Its destination a mystery that has haunted humanity for a decade: the Hollow Moon. Within its steel confines, Captain Keon Blaze stands at the helm, a figure both resolute and haunted. The loss from the previous mission, a void in his heart, fuels his determination. His gaze, fixed on the dark expanse ahead, belies a storm of emotions. Beside him, Astra Zen, the lead scientist, peers into her datapad, her fingers dancing over the screen with a fervor born of obsession. Her mind, a nexus of curiosity and brilliance, hungers for the secrets veiled by the moon's enigmatic silence. The answers we seek, she muses aloud, lie in the very heart of that celestial enigma. The crew's quarters hum with a subdued tension. Engineer Milo Wren inspects the ship's systems, ensuring their readiness against the moon's defenses, his tools clinking softly in the quiet. Biologist Tara Quinn studies samples under a microscope, her eyes reflecting the alien landscapes she hopes to discover. Pilot Jax Harrow maneuvers the ship, his hands steady and sure, while communications specialist Nova Lyle fine-tunes the equipment, ensuring they remain a lifeline to Earth. As Endeavour hurtles through space, the banter among the crew members serves as a temporary reprieve from the weight of their mission. If we find aliens, think they'll be friendly? Harrow jests, glancing around the mess hall. Wren, focusing on his tablet, adds dryly, I'd worry more about our landing. With the moon's defenses, it'll be like threading a needle in a hurricane, blindfolded. As the moon looms larger in their viewport, the Endeavour approaches the anomaly, a sphere that has defied understanding, its hollow heart a siren call to the curious and the brave. Blaze's voice cuts through the quiet. This is it, team. The point of no return. Whatever lies within that silence, we face it together. For Earth, for those we lost, and for the future. His crew nods, a unified front against the unknown. Zen, her eyes alight with the flame of discovery, turns to her colleagues. What we're about to do, stepping into the unknown, is the pinnacle of human courage and curiosity. Remember, no matter what we find, it's our unity and our resolve that define us. As the Endeavour descends, its shadow cast upon the moon's surface, the automated defenses awaken, unseen eyes turning towards the intruding vessel. The ship shudders under the assault, alarms blaring. Brace for impact, Blaze orders. Wren's hands fly over the controls, countermeasures deploying in a desperate bid to shield them from the moon's wrath. Harrow, co-piloting, maneuvers with a precision born of years in the cockpit, each dodge a dance with death. Quinn, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination, watches as the moon's secrets begin to unfold before them, an alien world beneath an unassuming facade. The Endeavour takes a couple dozen of hits from the moon's defenses and finally crashes down onto the moon's surface, a final jarring halt that marks the end of their journey through space and the beginning of their odyssey into the unknown. The silence that follows is profound. They have landed. They knew their chances to land without crashing on their own power to be only about 5%, that they are still in one piece is what the Endeavour was built for. The Endeavour lay in a crumpled heap, its once sleek hull marred by the scars of battle and a perilous descent. The crash site, a testament to their harrowing arrival, was eerily silent, save for the settling of dust and the distant mechanical hum that pervaded the air. Blaze was the first to regain his composure, his leadership never more vital than in this moment of uncertainty. Report, he called out, his voice cutting through the disquiet. One by one, his crew confirmed their status. Zen, her gaze already drawn to the moon's surface and the mysteries it promised, responded with a note of anticipation in her voice. Systems down, but curiosity intact. Wren, assessing the damage to the ship with a critical eye, managed a wry smile despite the situation. We're not going anywhere fast, but she held on and got us here safely. Harrow, ever the pilot, couldn't help but feel a sting of defeat. Wasn't exactly the landing I had in mind, he admitted, inspecting the controls. which flickered with the last vestiges of power. Lyle's voice, calm and collected, offered a beacon of hope. Communications are down, but I've got a feeling we're not alone. This place has eyes. As they emerged from the wreckage, the moon's surface greeted them with a desolate beauty. A vast, gray expanse stretched before them, leading to a structure that defied natural formation. An entrance, shaped by unknown hands, beckoned them into the darkness beyond. The crew approached, their steps light on the lunar soil, the gravity of their situation mirrored by the moon's gentle pull. Before them, the entrance stood as a silent invitation, or perhaps a challenge, its purpose and creators a mystery that twisted in their minds like a lock awaiting a key. Wren, breaking the silence, mused aloud. Do you think they had a welcome mat? Or is that too much to hope for? Quinn, peering into the shadows, replied, If they did, I doubt it said welcome humans. More likely, enter at your own risk. Inside, the corridor stretched before them, its walls lined with symbols that danced in the dim light, a language lost to time. Zen, her eyes alight with wonder, traced the patterns with a gloved hand. These markings, they're not random. They're telling a story, if only we could read it. The air within was stale, untouched by time, leading them deeper into the heart of the moon. As they ventured forth, the mechanical hum grew louder, a constant reminder of the automated guardians that lay in wait. Harrow, his gaze fixed on the path ahead, whispered, Feels like we're walking into the belly of the beast. Lyle, adjusting her equipment in an attempt to map their route, nodded. As the corridors of the hollow moon unfurled before them, the crew of the Endeavor delved deeper into its secrets, their lights casting long shadows on the ancient walls. The air, thick with the weight of eons, seemed to whisper with voices long silenced. It was here, in the bowels of a celestial enigma, that they found the first sign of the previous mission, a beacon of sorts, its light dim but steadfast, a sentinel standing guard. Blaze approached the device, his hand hovering above it before pressing play. The air crackled with static, and then a voice, strained and distant, filled the chamber. Day 15. We were wrong. This place isn't what we thought. It's not a base. It's a listening post. And there is something with us in here. The recording sent a shiver down their spines, a foreboding sense of connection with those who had ventured here before them. Zen, her mind racing with implications, noted, They knew something we don't. We need to find out what. As they progressed, the artifacts of the lost crew became more frequent. A journal, its pages filled with frantic scribbles. A broken tool, its purpose unknown. A photograph, faces smiling, unaware of the fate awaiting them. Each item a breadcrumb leading them through the maze of corridors, deeper into the story of those who had dared to uncover the moon's mysteries before them. Quinn, picking up the photograph, murmured, They look like us, full of hope and curiosity. It's chilling. Wren, examining the broken tool, added, They were trying to survive, adapt. There's resilience in every piece left behind. The corridor opened into a chamber, vast and echoing, its center dominated by a terminal, aglow with a faint light. Lyle approached, her fingers dancing over the alien interface, coaxing it to life. The screen flickered and then images began to play, a visual log disjointed and haunting. They watched in silence as the images showed the previous crew, alive, exploring, then struggling against unseen forces. Scenes of camaraderie gave way to ones of desperation, the environment turning against them, the moon revealing its true nature. Harrow, his voice low, broke the silence. They were cut off just like us. But it looks like they found something they weren't supposed to. The video ended with a final chilling message. Do not trust the... The screen went dark, the message unfinished, leaving a palpable tension in the air. Blaze turned to his crew, determination in his eyes. We need to find out what they discovered. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about finishing what they started. As they left the chamber, a sense of solemnity accompanied them. the ghosts of the past now silent witnesses to their journey. Ren, breaking the heavy silence, tried to lighten the mood. "Well, on the bright side, we've got great company." Quinn, with a small smile, responded, "Let's just hope we don't end up permanent residents." The Endeavor crew, pushing deeper into the alien construct, unwittingly became the catalyst for its awakening. Ancient machinery, dormant for eons, stirred to life with their passage, the walls themselves seeming to pulsate with a newfound purpose. It was Blaze who first noticed the subtle shift in the atmosphere, the air charged with an electric tension. "Stay sharp," he warned, his voice echoing slightly off the cold metallic surfaces. "We're not alone here anymore." It wasn't long before the Guardians showed up. Shaped from the same metal as the moon base, these automatons emerged from hidden recesses, their forms a nightmare blend of arachnid and humanoid, designed to hunt and eliminate intruders. The crew's first encounter with these sentinels was a frantic blend of evasion and defense, Zen and Quinn improvising weapons from their scientific equipment to fend off the relentless assault. "Maybe we should have brought weapons," Zen remarked, her voice steady as she adjusted the settings on her makeshift plasma cutter, turning a piece of exploration gear into a weapon of necessity. Blaze, with concern on his face, mentions, "We came in peace. We thought that maybe if we didn't bring weapons it'd be fine." Seeing the error now that not everything can be resolved with peace or math. Zen shot back, "At this rate we will be leaving in pieces, though." As they delved further, the Guardians became more numerous and the traps more sophisticated. A corridor lined with laser emitters nearly caught them off guard, the beams slicing through the air inches from their skin. Lyle, demonstrating an unexpected aptitude for strategy, mirrored the beams with a polished piece of metal, creating a temporary safe path for them to cross. "Guess all those puzzle games were good for something," she said, a hint of pride in her voice. It was in this environment of constant vigilance that they stumbled upon a central hub, a vast chamber whose ceiling was lost in shadow. Here, the Guardians were relentless, converging on the crew from all sides. Blaze, leading from the front, found himself locked in combat with a particularly formidable automaton. Its limbs, sharp and unyielding, whirled in a deadly dance, seeking to impale him. Blaze maneuvered around its attacks, then using their own repurposed weapons against them, to deliver a decisive blow to its core. The Guardian collapsed, a heap of ancient technology no longer a threat. "Seems like they don't make them like they used to," Blaze managed, catching his breath, his attempt at levity masking the adrenaline coursing through his veins. It did seem that luck was on their side for now, the time this tech was on the moon. It had gradually decayed, making it easier for the crew to manage. The chamber, now quiet, revealed its true purpose through a series of holographic displays that sprung to life at their approach. Images of the moon, Earth, and the vast cosmos beyond, played out in silent testament to the ambitions of an unknown civilization. It was here, amidst the remnants of ancient defenses and the echoes of a long-lost race, that the crew found their next clue, a star map, pointing towards locations unknown, each marked with symbols that matched those found throughout the moon's interior. Ren, leaning closer to the display, mused, "Looks like we've got ourselves a treasure map. Just hope X marks the spot for something good." Quinn, ever the scientist, was quick to temper expectations. "Or it's a map to more of these traps and Guardians. Let's not get ahead of ourselves." In the shadowed corridors of the moon's heart, where the air hummed with ancient secrets, the crew of the Endeavor pressed on, their resolve tested by each step into the unknown. It was in one such corridor, barely lit by the soft glow of bioluminescent panels, that they encountered a chamber unlike any other, a room pulsating with a strange energy, its center dominated by a crystalline structure that throbbed with an eerie light. Lyle, ever curious and fearless in the pursuit of knowledge, approached the structure, her hand outstretched towards the mesmerizing glow. "Looks like we found the power source," she remarked, her voice tinged with awe. But as her fingers brushed against the crystal's surface, a surge of energy coursed through her, a scream tearing from her lips as she was engulfed in a blinding light. The crew rushed to her side, but the transformation that unfolded before their eyes was beyond their wildest fears. Lyle's body contorted, her screams morphing into inhuman sounds as the crystal's energy fused with her flesh, transforming her into something else. A hybrid of human and alien technology fused together, more than a cyborg, her eyes glowing with the same eerie light that had ensnared her. Blaze, his heart heavy with the burden of command, reached out to the being that Lyle had become, hoping to find a trace of the woman they knew. "Lyle, can you hear me?" he asked, his voice steady, despite the turmoil within. The creature that turned to face him was both familiar and utterly alien, her voice a chorus of harmonics that resonated in the chamber. "I am here, but not. I see everything. The moon, its purpose. We are not prepared." Zen, her mind racing to understand the implications, whispered, "She's become a conduit, a link between us and the moon's secrets. But at what cost?" Ren, his gaze fixed on Lyle's transformed figure, murmured, "We need to be careful. The moon's not just a place, it's a test, a guardian of thresholds, one we're maybe not meant to cross." Quinn, her scientific curiosity battling with her concern for her friend, added, "If we can communicate with her, understand the changes, there might be a way to reverse it, or at least learn from it." Lyle, or the cyborg entity she had become, represented a bridge to the moon's secrets, but also a vivid illustration of the risks they faced. As they continued their exploration, the transformed Lyle a silent guardian at their side, the crew grappled with the implications of their mission. The moon, with its traps and guardians, had been a formidable adversary, but the true challenge lay in understanding the cost of their curiosity, the price of venturing into realms beyond human comprehension. Ren, attempting to lighten the mood, glanced at the entity that Lyle had become. "Guess you're our secret weapon now," he tried to joke. The cyborg entity that was Lyle smiled, albeit a faint smile. The transformation of Lyle into a being of both flesh and alien machinery had already frayed the edges of their sanity. Now, as they ventured deeper, an unseen force began to prey upon their minds, weaving illusions from their deepest fears. Blaze, ever the stalwart captain, felt the weight of command heavier than ever. The shadows seemed to whisper doubts, questioning his decisions, his worthiness. "We're following a map to our doom," he muttered under his breath, the words slipping out. Zen, whose mind had always been her greatest asset, found herself second-guessing her every thought. The symbols and knowledge she had prized above all else twisted into menacing patterns, her research notes appearing to rearrange themselves into warnings. "The answers are here, but they're not for us," she whispered, her voice a ghost of its former confidence. Quinn, whose love for the mysteries of life had brought her to this forsaken place, now saw threats in every shadow. The biologist's curiosity turned to paranoia, seeing eyes watching from the darkness, life forms where there were none. "We're the specimens now," she said, half to herself, her laughter tinged with hysteria. Ren, the engineer who had always relied on the tangible, the fixable, found his tools slipping through his fingers, his instruments giving impossible readings. "Guys, it's over 9,000. We're off the charts in every possible way," he joked, trying to keep the mood light, but the quiver in his voice betrayed his growing dread. And Harrow, the pilot who had navigated them through the stars, now found himself lost in a maze of corridors that seemed to shift and change behind them. "I could fly us through a black hole and come out smiling, but this place," he paused, shaking his head, "it's like flying blind in a storm with no instruments." As the crew's grip on reality weakened, the cyborg entity that was once Lyle moved among them, a silent sentinel. Her transformed state now seemed a beacon of stability in a world gone mad. Her presence, once a source of unease, became a touchstone for the crew, her unchanged dedication to the mission a lifeline in the psychological maelstrom. In a moment of clarity amidst the chaos, Zen rallied her companions. "We can't let it break us," she declared, her voice cutting through the fog of fear. "Our minds are our own. We have to hold on to what we know is true. The crew banded together, drawing strength from their shared resolve. A few days had passed. Now the crew, deep within the heart of the hollow moon, the crew of the Endeavor, stood at the threshold of a revelation that would dwarf their understanding of their place in the cosmos. The path that had led them here, through traps and guardians, through transformation, culminated in a chamber so vast it seemed to contain the universe itself. The walls were lined with panels of shimmering light, displaying star systems and galaxies in breathtaking detail. In the center of the chamber, a device of unimaginable complexity pulsed with a gentle light, its purpose clear to those who had braved the moon's secrets to stand before it. Lyle, when entering this room, muttered only one word: Mechanoids. This is it then, or whatever Mechanoids means, Zen breathed, her voice filled with awe. The heart of the moon, the archive of a civilization that watched the stars long before humanity looked up from Earth. As they approached the device, it activated, responding to Lyle's presence. Holograms sprang to life around them, showing scenes of civilizations rising, falling, and being exterminated, of stars being born and dying. It was a record of the cosmos, observed and preserved by entities whose existence spanned eons. Blaze, overwhelmed by the scale of what they were witnessing, murmured, "We're not just explorers. We're witnesses to the legacy of these watchers." The realization of their insignificance in the face of such ancient watching entities was humbling. The crew's mission, their lives, even the Earth itself, were but fleeting moments in the grand tapestry of the universe. The moon, a cosmic recorder of sorts, or maybe it's a harbinger of destruction, recording a species' rise to the cosmos to then be snuffed out, leaving behind only their records. Ren, who had always found comfort in the tangible, found himself grappling with the intangible vastness of time and space. "Makes you wonder," he said, his voice tinged with uncharacteristic seriousness. "What mark we'll leave behind?" Quinn, her mind racing with the implications for her field, added, "Think of the biodiversity they must have seen, the life forms that have existed, and we're just one more species under their gaze." The device then presented them with a map, not of stars, but of locations on Earth, marked with the same symbols they had seen throughout the moon. It was a guide, pointing to sites of untold significance. Harrow, ever the pilot, couldn't help but feel a spark of excitement amidst the gravity of their discovery. "Looks like we've got our next destinations mapped out. Who's up for a road trip?" The cyborg entity that was once Lyle, now more than ever a bridge between the crew and the moon's secrets, resonated with the chamber's energy. "We are part of it now," she conveyed, her voice a harmony of sound and light. As they absorbed the chamber's revelations, the crew understood that their journey was far from over, and that the Mechanoids posed a threat to any living being in the universe. The knowledge they had gained was a beacon, illuminating the path forward, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. In this moment at the core of the moon, the crew faced the reality of their insignificance and the magnificence of their discovery with a newfound resolve. And so, with the secrets of the core revealed, they prepared to return to Earth as messengers of a profound truth about the cosmos and humanity's place within it, but also as a warning of what is to come, because from what the crew had seen, the Mechanoids were coming. It wasn't an if, it was when, and humanity needed to be ready to not just become a mere recording on one of these cosmic security cameras. As the crew were preparing to leave the moon, it had one more revelation, a confrontation with the moon's final guardian. This entity, a machine seen in the recordings raising entire civilizations, emerged from the darkness as if awoken from its slumber. Was this the being operating the cosmic camera all this time? Then maybe this camera is used to see when we would be ready to be called. The Guardian, its purpose singular and clear, to protect the secrets at any cost. Its eyes, if they could be called that, burned with an alien intelligence, focusing on the crew with an intensity that felt almost personal. Blaze, stepping forward, faced the Guardian with a determination that belied the uncertainty churning within him. "We're not here to destroy," he asserted, his voice steady. "We seek to understand." The Guardian, not yet fully operational, responded not with words, but with a beam of power that punched a hole through the chamber, its message clear. There would be no negotiation, no understanding. This was a trial by fire, a test of their resolve and their right to the moon's secrets. Ren, ever the pragmatist, quickly assessed their situation. "Well, diplomacy's out. Looks like we're doing this the hard way," he remarked, trying to lighten the mood even as he prepared for the conflict. Zen, her mind racing with the implications of their encounter, saw in the Guardian its capacity for destruction. "It's the Watcher," she whispered, a realization dawning. "The final barrier between us and becoming a spacefaring species." Full well knowing that these machines wipe out any species that might become a threat, snuffing them out when they set their first baby steps into the cosmos. The battle that ensued was one-sided, a dance of desperation and defiance. Quinn, leveraging her knowledge, targeted the Guardian's weak points, hoping to exploit any vulnerabilities. Her attacks, a mixture of scientific ingenuity and survival instinct, landed with precision, but seemed to only momentarily hinder the behemoth. Harrow, navigating the debris and the Guardian's attacks with a pilot's grace, found himself drawing on every skill he possessed, not in the cockpit, but on the ground. Barely dodging a beam of energy so powerful it cut the room in half. Amidst the turmoil, the entity that was once Lyle moved with purpose, her transformation granting her insights into the Guardian's mechanics. She interfaced with the moon's ancient technology, attempting to slow the Guardian to give her crew, the people she still considered her family, a fighting chance. The Guardian, relentless, adapted to each strategy they employed, becoming more terrifying with each moment. Its attacks grew more precise, more desperate, as if it too understood the stakes of their confrontation. In this clash, the crew's humanity was both their weakness and their strength. Their fear, their hope, their determination to protect one another in the face of overwhelming odds, became the fuel for their resistance. Zen, amidst the chaos, found a moment of clarity. "It's not just protecting the moon," she realized aloud. "It's testing us to see how we fare fighting their kind." With this new understanding, the crew shifted their approach, focusing and getting out of there. Their weapons were useless, while if they got hit only once, they would die. The battle reached its climax as Blaze called for a tactical retreat. They might lose this fight, but humanity needs to know what they had uncovered. As they retreated, the crew of the Endeavor found themselves at a critical juncture. The path ahead, once obscured by the threat of annihilation, now lay open before them. Yet the moon's secrets did not yield easily, and it was in this moment of precarious victory that Ren, the engineer whose pragmatism and wit had carried them through countless trials, conceived a plan of profound sacrifice. The device at the moon's core, a nexus of ancient technology and cosmic power, held the key to their mission's success. But its defenses were formidable, designed to repel any who sought to unveil the Watcher's legacy. Ren understood that, to deactivate these defenses, he needed Lyle. Both had to work together, as she would need to merge with the moon's machinery, a union of human intellect and alien technology. "I've got an idea," Ren began, his voice betraying none of the weight of his decision. "But it's a one-way trip. The system needs a manual override, someone to negotiate with it directly, and another to fuse with it." As he looked at Lyle, or what was left of her. Lyle nodded, knowing full well what had to be done. Blaze, recognizing the gravity of Ren's proposal, protested. "There has to be another way. We don't sacrifice crew members. We find solutions that don't require anyone to be left behind." Ren, with a smile that spoke of both resignation and determination, replied, "Captain, we're standing on a relic that's older than humanity's first steps out of the caves. Sometimes the solution is the sacrifice. We are not being left behind, we are merely leading the way." The crew's objections were many, their camaraderie forged in the fires of shared adversity, unwilling to accept the necessity of their sacrifice. Yet, within each protest, lay the understanding that Ren's plan offered the most certain path to success, a fleeting advantage bought with a cost too great to bear. Zen, her voice softened by emotion, spoke up. Your brilliance has always been in seeing the solutions no one else could. But this, we'll find another way. Ren, however, remained steadfast. Look, we're talking about unlocking the secrets of the universe here, about continuing the legacy of those who've watched since the dawn of time. If my mind can help bridge the gap, then it's worth it. The preparations were swift, the crew working together to integrate Lyle into the moon's core system. As she was connected, her consciousness beginning to merge with the ancient technology, Lyle's last words to the crew were a mix of her characteristic wit and a profound truth. Don't forget to defrag me every now and then, okay? The effect was immediate. The moon's defenses, once an insurmountable barrier, began to recede, recognizing Lyle not as an intruder, but as a part of itself. The path to the moon's deepest secrets lay open. As the crew moved forward, leaving a part of their own behind, the mood was one of somber determination. They understood the magnitude of their sacrifice, the weight of the information they sought to bring back to Earth. Harrow, breaking the silence, said, "They were the best of us, you know. Always looking ahead, always seeing the bigger picture." Quinn, wiping away a tear, nodded. She's part of the moon now, part of its story and ours. We'll make sure their sacrifice means something. With the moon's defenses silenced, the Endeavour crew faced the final leg of their journey, a return to Earth shadowed by the sacrifices that had granted them passage. The silence that had once filled the hollow moon was now a presence within them, a reminder of Ren's selfless act and the transformation of Lyle into something beyond human understanding. The journey back to the Endeavour's landing site was a solemn procession. The ship, damaged but defiant, stood as their chariot away from the darkness, back to the light of home, if they can get it of this rock. Blaze, his leadership tested like never before, guided his crew with a quiet strength. "They gave us this chance," he said, his voice carrying the weight of command and loss. "We honor them by completing this mission, by sharing what we've learned." Zen, her mind a whirlwind of the knowledge they had acquired, nodded in agreement. The universe is far more vast and strange than we ever imagined. As they prepared what was left of the Endeavour for takeoff, Harrow found himself at the controls, the task of piloting them home now his alone. "I used to think flying was about pushing boundaries, about the thrill," he admitted, his hands steady despite the turmoil. "Now I see it's also about bringing us back, about the journey home. Please hold it together, Endeavour." The Endeavour, as if knowing its final task, returned back to life, the ship creaking and groaning under all the stress from the damage it took. Due to the moon's low gravity, the ship managed to take off to space, and with the automated defenses offline, the ship limped its way back to Earth. Quinn reflected on their experience. "We encountered wonders and horrors alike," she mused. "But it's the wonders that will stay with me, the proof that life, in all its forms, finds a way." The entity that had once been Lyle, now a bridge between humanity and the alien technology of the moon, communicated with the Endeavour, sending advanced schematics they would later need, and optimizing what was left of the ship, a farewell to the place that had changed her. "I am more than I was thanks to you all. Our journey doesn't end here, it expands outward, into the stars. I will be here forever watching you, and when the Mechanoids show up, I will be ready." "Ren," ever the engineer quips, "now let's get these defenses under human control, Lyle, before this guardian shows up to kill me." This was their final communication with their friends. With the Endeavour hurtling through the void back to Earth, the crew faced the daunting task of explaining their discoveries, of justifying the cost. The data they carried, the samples and recordings, were more than scientific curiosities. They were beacons of hope, reminders of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of cosmic dread. As Earth came into view, a blue jewel suspended in the vastness of space, the crew shared a moment of bittersweet triumph. They had ventured into the unknown, faced the guardians of the moon, and returned, marked by loss but also by the indelible strength of their shared experience. "The world won't be the same for us," Blaze observed, gazing at the approaching planet. But maybe, just maybe, we can use what we've learned to make it better. The landing, though rough, was a catharsis, the Endeavour touching down on familiar soil under the gaze of a waiting world. The crew emerged, not as the individuals who had left, but as heralds of a new era of understanding and exploration. In the days that followed, as they recounted their journey to a captivated audience, the crew of the Endeavour became heroes. The loss of Wren, the transformation of Lyle, were felt deeply, but also served as reminders of the cost of reaching beyond our grasp, of the sacrifices made in the name of discovery. Their story, a tapestry of courage, wonder, and loss, would inspire future generations to look up at the stars, not with fear, but with the knowledge that humanity's quest for understanding is boundless. The journey back from the darkness of the moon was not just a return to the light, but a beacon, guiding the way forward into the vast, uncharted territories of the cosmos, driven by the undeniable resilience of the human spirit. Meanwhile, in some corner of the galaxy, a Mechanoid hive cluster took note of what happened on the moon and started to prepare.